This is the PreAP Module 2 CBA review. Everything that you should be able to do in this unit is up in this top part. That's everything we've covered during Module 2A. And the vocabulary you need to know, but you don't necessarily have to have memorized, you just need to understand them, are in these boxes here. So we will go ahead and get started. It's a little bit tight, but I'm going to try and fit it all on this page so I don't have to use extra pages. So number 1, Sarah has a box of cookies that is 1/2 full. One serving of the cookies is 1/8 of the box. How many servings of cookies does Sarah have? This is a division problem, so we are going to divide 1/8 divided by 1/2 divided by 1/8. And when I divide, my rule is to keep the first, change the division to multiplication, and then use the reciprocal of the second fraction, which is to flip it. So I'm going to have 1/2 times 8 over 1. And when I multiply that, I get 8 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So she has 4 servings currently. Number 2, Coach Anthony jogged around the track between 6 and 9 times each morning. Each lap is 1/4 of a mile. If he jogs 5 days that week, about how many miles did he run? So I'm going to do a couple things first. I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 6 and by 9 just so you guys have a range. If you wanted to just pick something in the middle and say, okay, I'm going to use 7 or 8, that's fine if you wanted to do that. But I'm going to just do both sides so you can see kind of where you got. So I'm going to start with 1/4 times 6 days, which would be 6 over 1 because that's how we write a whole number. And that's going to be 6 over 4. Instead of converting this right now, I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by my 5 days of the week. I'll do that just because that saves me from converting it to a mixed number and then having to go back to an improper fraction to multiply by 5. So I'm going to multiply it by 5 over 1, which is going to give me 30 over 4. When I divide out 30 over 4 to make it a mixed number, I'm going to get 7.5. So if he ran if he ran around the track 6 times and he ran 5 days that week, he could have run 7.5 miles. Now I'm going to figure out 9, so again I'm going to do 1/4 times 9 over 1. That's going to give me 9/4, and again I'm just going to multiply it by 5 now rather than going to a mixed number and then having to go back to improper. So times 5 over 1 is going to give me 45 over 4, and that will equal 11 1/4 miles. So he's going to run somewhere between 7.5 and 11 1/4 miles, depending on which number you chose. So if your answer's anywhere in between there, you're good to go. Use a number line to order the following fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my number line down here. This will be my 0. I always mark where 1/2 is going to be, and then 1. And then these are good benchmark fractions to use. So I'm going to go ahead and put my benchmark fractions up here. The ones closest to 0 are going to be 1/8 and 1/12. Closest to 1/2 or 1 is going to be 2/3. And then I actually have one that's over 1 because it's improper, which is going to be 9/6. So automatically I should be able to put them in order. I know that 1/12 is going to be smaller than 1/8, so that actually needs to be on this side. Okay, so, and those are both going to be smaller than 1/2. So my 1/12 is going to be about right here. My 1/8 will be pretty close quarters to it. 2/3 is going to fall in about over here. And then 9/6 is actually going to be greater than 1. It'll be 1 1/3, so really it would be about right here. That would be the order. Number 4, the grid represents one whole. How much of the grid is shaded? When we count these up, these are strips of 10, so that's going to be 45 out of a total of 100 squares. And when I divide that by 5 to simplify, it's 9/20 of the grid. Number 5, determine which numbers are equivalent to 12/5. I'm going to go ahead and just simplify this right now. So 12/5, 5 goes into 12 twice, and I would get 2 2/5. Well, 2 2/5 because 12 divided by 5 is 2 with a remainder of 2. So 1 works as an answer choice. 2 2/5 is also equivalent to 2 4/10, and if I were to write that as a decimal, it would be 2.4, not 2.2. And then here we go, 2.4, which is equivalent to 2/10, so that works. 12/10 because 12 times 1 equals 12, and 5 times 2 equals 10. That wouldn't work. For this to be equivalent, if I multiplied by 2, it would have to be 24/10. So 4 is not correct, so my answer choice is 1 and 3, which is answer choice D. Number 6, Park City blew up 24 balloons for a football party. When Troy Aikman went to pick up the balloons, 8 of the balloons popped before leaving the store. What fraction of the balloons did not pop? I'd start by doing 24 minus 8, and that's 16. 16 over a total of 24 can be divided by 8 to get 2/3. So C, 2/3 of the balloons did not pop. Go ahead and go on to the next page, if I can turn it. Alright. Mr. Jones needed a window screen to fit into his new window. The old screen was between 2/3 and 13/15 inches thick. Which screen will work on his window? So I went ahead and turned 2/3 into 15ths. So the equivalent fraction for that would be 10/15ths. So now I know that my fraction needs to lie between 10/15ths and 13/15ths. So that would leave me with the option of 11/15ths or 12/15ths for my answer. So now I'm going to look at my answer choices. 14/15ths is too big. So that's not going to be the answer. 4/5, if I make that equivalent to 15, 5 times 3 is 15, 4 times 3 is 12. So right now that works. 1/5 is equivalent to 3/15ths, that's too small. And then 7/30ths, I would need to divide to get to 15 by 2. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, which is also too small. So the correct answer would be B. Number 8, Tammy said that multiplying 5/6 and 3/2 is equal to 5/9. Mitch said that it is equal to 1 1/4, and Robin said that it is equal to 12/15. Show your work to prove who's correct. So 5/6 times 3/2. Yes, this is improper, but I can leave it that way because we want it to be improper to multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. 6 times 2 is 12. This is not correct. That's the reciprocal of that, which is not what we want. So Robin is incorrect. When I divide 12 into 15, it goes in one time. I get a remainder of 3/12, which can be simplified to 1 1/4 as my answer. So Mitch said that 1 1/4 was the answer. 5/9 is not correct, so Mitch would be correct. Number 9, Sally Mae got a giant Hershey bar for her birthday. She decided to eat half of it after dinner last night. Uncle Pete told her to give the remaining half of the candy bar to her 3 cousins to share equally, so each cousin would get 1/3 of 1/2 of the original candy bar, which area model represents the part of the candy bar that each cousin would get. So instead of looking at the answer choices, I'm going to go ahead and draw my own area model to start. So I'm going to split it in half and shade. I'm going to use a pencil to shade just so it's easier to see. I'm going to lightly shade in 1/2. Okay. Then I'm going to split it into thirds going the other direction. It's always important that you go the other direction for the other fraction. And I'm going to shade in 1/3. And then my answer comes from the box that's shaded twice, so the answer would be 1/6. Right? Letter A, this is only showing that we shaded 1/3. Letter B, this is showing 1/2 times 2/3, which is not what we wanted. C is only showing that we shaded 2/3. D shows 1/2 times we shaded 1/3. So D would be my correct answer choice. And I can see that my 1/6 is circled there. Alright, last page. Number 10. The school cross-country team is planning to run the Boston Marathon. In order to train for the 26-mile run, they are setting a team goal to run a minimum of 100 miles each week. Which of the following is true based on the model below? Okay, so right now you can kind of see that this would be my quarter of the way, half the way, 3/4 of the way, 100 miles. The team is running 75 miles this week. That would be true because 3/4 would be 75. The team has run 1/2 of their goal. They've actually run over 1/2 of their goal. So it's not they've run a half, they've actually gone past that. The team has 1/4 left to reach their goal. Yes, because they've run 1, 2, 3/4. They have 1/4 left. So that would be correct. The team will reach their goal today. We don't know yet where they are or what day of the week it is or how many times they've run this day. So we can't prove that. So the correct answer would just be 1 and 3, which is D. Mr. Goss asked Jenna and Jason to calculate the product of 3 2/3 times 5 1/4. Jenna calculated 231/12 as the product. Jason calculated 77/4 as the product. Who calculated the correct answer? Okay, I'm going to turn my paper this way just to do this one because of space issues. So we're going to make these improper. So I've got 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 is 11. So I've got 11/3 times 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1 is 21, 21/4. So I'm going to do two things here. The first thing I'm going to do when I multiply is I'm just going to multiply straight across. 11 times 21 is 231. 3 times 4 is 12. So Jenna so far doing good. She's correct. Then I'm going to rewrite this below, and I'm going to cross cancel, which just means I'm going to simplify before I multiply. You are welcome to just simplify after you have 231 over 12. Some people just prefer to cross cancel and simplify before. Either way is correct. So what I'm going to say is 11 and 4 don't share a common factor other than 1, but 3 and 21 do. They share the factor of 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 21 divided by 3 is 7. 11 times 7 is 77. 1 times 4 is 4. So Jason is also correct. So the correct answer would be D, that both Jenna and Jason calculated the correct answer. Number 12, Levon has 4/5 cups of blueberries. A batch of blueberry muffins requires 1/3 cup of blueberries. How many batches of blueberry muffins can Levon make? So I'm going to divide 4/5 by 1/3, which means I'm going to keep my first number. I'm going to change to multiplication, and I'm going to use the reciprocal of 1/3, which is 3, or 3 over 1. Then I'm going to get 12/5, and 5 goes into 12 twice. I'm going to have a remainder of 2. So if I were just dividing my fraction, this would be 2 and 2/5. But because we're talking about batches of muffins, she could make 2 complete batches of muffins, because I'm not going to make 2/5 of a batch. So 2 complete batches. Number 13, this actually does not have a correct answer, so we're going to go ahead and write our own. This is the only one on here that is incorrect. So 4 and 1/4 times 2 and 1/3. I'm going to use this doing an area model, which we learned about in class actually today. So I can draw my box method area model. I'm going to have 4 and 1/4 times 2 and 1/3. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1/3, I could do 4 over 1 times 1 over 3, which equals 4/3. And I can leave that in proper, but it would be, I'm just going to put in parentheses here, 1 and 1/3 as I mix number. 2 times 1/4, 2 over 1 times 1 over 4 is just going to be 2 over 4, or 1/2. And then 1/4 times 1/3 is going to be 1/12. So if I were going to write this the way the answers are in an expression, it would be 8 plus 1 and 1/3 plus 1/2 plus 1/12. That would be the correct answer. Number 14, Nina has 2/3 of a cup of shampoo left in the shampoo bottle. So she uses 1/8 of a cup of shampoo to wash her hair. If Nina washes her hair every day, how many days can she wait before opening a new bottle? So this is going to be a division problem. 2/3 divided by 1/8. So keep the first number, change it to multiplication, use the reciprocal, so flip that number. That's going to be 16/3. And when I divide 3 into 16, 3 goes into 16 5 times. I'm going to have a remainder of 1, so the fraction again would be 5 and 1/3, but she can wash her hair for another 5 days before she has to open a new bottle, because on that 6th day, she's only going to have 1/3 left. Amy went to the store and bought milk. Her mom needed 2/3 of 1/2 of the milk. How much did Amy's mom get of the milk? That of is key for multiplication, so 2/3 times 1/2 is going to be 2/6, which simplifies to 1/3. So that's your CBA review. If you guys need help, please come into tutorials, and good luck on Wednesday and Thursday.